Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Theravada Buddhism series, Dhamma talk number 69. Observing objects through the mind door. We all know the law of karma. Good action produce good results, and wrong action produce terrible consequences. It is always constant. It is a fixed law. However, if one applies wise attention, an unwholesome object in the field of awareness that could give bad or terrible result can provide a wholesome result or wholesome effect. That is the salient point. If one can apply wise attention instead of unwholesome result, wholesome result or benefit can arise. In some cases, even with the wise intention, one cannot avoid having unwholesome result. One cannot resist becoming unwholesome under the influence of strongly desirable or undesirable objects. In such cases, precise and correct observation is a remedy to it. Let's say if one sees unwanted object, simply note as seeing. And if the observation is accurate, it will not give rise to mental anguish or kilesa. Still, sometimes one fails to establish a precise observation. Then one may note any negative mental states arising at that moment until they disappear. There are many steps to take. If one doesn't succeed, the next. If one doesn't succeed, the next. And even with that, if the negative emotions do not disappear, this is the last resort. Doesn't disappear. Then direct the attention to the body. Such as sitting or walking posture. Sitting means observing rising and falling movements. Rising, falling, touching, sitting. Walking posture means observing lifting movement, pushing forward movement, and dropping movements. Direct the attention there if all else fails. That will undoubtedly stop the mental anguish or kilesa arising from the repulsive, strongly undesirable object or conditions. These are step-by-step process how to eliminate kilesa influenced by heavily desirable or undesirable objects. Mindfulness insight, Satipatthana Vipassana, is the best tool to eliminate such kind of kilesa. Now, let's approach from another angle. Correct observation, looking from the point of thought process, is to observe the 5 sense door consciousness. If you want to understand through the VT thought process, observe the 5 sense door consciousness. What are they? Seeing consciousness, hearing consciousness, smelling consciousness, tasting consciousness, and touching consciousness. Those are the 5 sense door consciousness. In short, observe seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching. These consciousness arises when an object strikes a sensitivity. Such as form striking the eye, sensitivity, sound striking the ear, sensitivity, and so on. If a yogi has developed relatively good concentration, can observe the movement of the contact, phassa. The moment contact is when the object strikes the sensitivity, phassa. And if one can do so, greed or anger will not arise. That is from the point of thought process. trying to understand what we are doing. Now we'll go a little farther in explanation based on some events from the scripture. We observe from the mind door when a striking object and the receiving sensitivity meets at the five sense door. They meet. Form meets the eye sensitivity at the eye door. And when it meets, it's said we observe it from the mind door. What does it mean? Let's take a man resting under a tree at noon to explain this further. A bird came and perched on one of the branches of the tree. Instantly, there's a shadow of the bird on the ground. By seeing the shadow, the man knows a bird is on a branch of the tree. So that is the setting. The bird represents the five sense objects. The three branches represent the five sensitivities. The shadow of the bird is the mental image, and the land where the shadow appears is the mind door. In that way, we can understand clearly five sense object, five sensitivity, five sense door, after that, it is the mental image, and the mental image reflects at the mind door. Let's take another event to try and understand this. Based on an event at the time of Buddha. The Buddha was residing at Jeta Grove in the Savatthi kingdom, where Bhikkhu Polila taught Buddha Dhamma to 18 groups of Sangha, totaling 500 monks. So each group's about around 25 to 30 range. He often went and paid respect to the Buddha because he is very devoted. And every visit, Buddha called him useless Polila. Tosa Polila in Pali. One day, Polila reflected on why the Buddha called him useless, even though he was working hard, teaching 500 monks. And upon reflection, he realized Buddha was reminding him of his non-attainment of the path status. So we quietly left Jada Grove and took a great distance to a forest monastery where 30 Arahants reside. And the youngest Arahant was only 7 years old. Around that time, there is no novice monk and fully ordained monk. All are monks. No novice monk, no samanera. Polila went to the most senior monk and requested to give him a meditation. The monk knew Polila was not ready to practice. Because Polila was a very learned monk of Buddha Dharma, and he has the conceit based on the Buddha Dharma theory, the accomplishments on the Buddha Dharma in terms of theory. He has a conceit there. So the Arahant refused Polila by saying that he was the one who should be requesting meditation from Polila. So Polila went and asked the meditation instruction from the another 28 monks, one after the other in terms of seniority. But he received the same polite refusal. Finally, he went to the last monk, who was only 7 years old, but an Arahant. Polila begs, "You are the only one left here who I can depend on to receive meditation instruction for attaining Nibbana." The Samanera, the child monk, knew that Polila had no more conceit because he was begging. So he asked Polila, "Would you follow what I instruct?" Polila said, "Even if you ask me to jump into fire, I would jump into it." The child monk said, "There's no fire here, but there's a lake. Now walk into the lake with your ropes on Polila did as instructed. When the lower extremity of the ropes became wet, the child Arhat called him to return to the shore and give him meditation instruction. The instructions are as follows. A lizard lives in an earth mound with 6 holes. A man came to catch the lizard. He blocked the 5 holes and constantly watched the 6 holes, and eventually succeeded in capturing the lizard. That's a story, a setting to simply understand what's about to follow. In the same way, one must close the 5 sense doors and continuously monitor from the mind door. That was the meditation instruction. The learned Bolana knew at once what it meant. It doesn't mean that one must close or block the 5 sense door, but one must observe from the mind door the contact of the sense objects and the sensitivities at the 5 physical doors and 1 mental door for thoughts. Polila was a learned monk of the Buddha Dharma. He had a certain level of concentration, and most of all had enough parami, perfection, to liberate himself from samsara. He practiced and he became an arahant quickly. With a certain degree of established concentration, a yogi must observe 5 sense door from the mind door in the present moment to eliminate all form of kilesa and thoughts, mental objects, also from the mind door. So, when an object strikes the sensitivity, 5 sense objects strike the 5 sensitivity, 5 sense consciousness arises. Those are 5 sense door consciousness. And the mental image was reflected on the mind door. Receiving consciousness received the mental image, investigating consciousness investigated, and determining consciousness. Determine it at the mind doors. That is what it means by close the 5 sense door and watch from the mind door. May all of you be able to practice mindfulness and insight meditation and be able to observe all 6 sense objects from the mind door and liberate oneself from samsara as soon as possible. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much.